Thank you for the introduction, Antoni. Thank you for the organization, ICT Media, and I'm happy again to be on this stage. My name is Pavel Kaminsky, and for the last 10 years I have been dealing with information security in its many phases. Information security governance, penetration testing, IT security audits, and so on. Since 2008, we are also an active player on the DDoS protection market. We are working with the companies from different areas like financial, pharma, gambling, retail. We are protecting a national bank and so on. So we are also working with them in different things like DDoS resiliency assessment, DDoS stress testing, and so on. But since last time, I'm observing one thing about how the Uncle Cloud is changing the world and is changing the market here. And I want to share some things with you today about that. But first of all, let me see, please, who we are here, who we have here. Please raise your hand who who represented traditional or a co-location data center company, traditional hosting company. Nobody. Okay. Who represent the cloud? Nobody. Who are you? Okay. So, cloud is gaining more and more speed, and it's obvious. We are sure that this as a service model that we have in cloud will be everywhere soon. So, and we have to take it seriously. Today, even financial organizations like banks are not afraid to move their private data to cloud, like they outsource their email, CRM, ERP services without any problems. We have a Spark in Bulgaria already, and some more years, and we will not need our own cars anymore. So the things are happening. Even my favorite web hosting conference, Web Hosting Days, yesterday I got an email that they are renamed to CloudFest. But let's see how did it all start and how did it all begin. The 90s, there was no DDoS attacks. At that time, almost no. Actually, 20 years passed from the first DDoS attacks, but it was not so big problem at that time. There was no cloud, there was no protection. Traditional hosting companies were on the rise. I remember how a couple of my colleagues, students, started their own hosting company in our dormitory. They placed a couple of computers. They switched them with hubs, the hubs time. Do you remember what the hubs were? Please raise your hand. Who remember what the hubs were? Nobody. You should. Oh, okay. We have. I'm not alone. Thank you. So you should remember that at that time, denial of service attacks in one network were very often and mostly unintentionally, because of these Smurf attacks, like we call them, of using the broadcast issues in non-switched networks. But not so big problem at that time. Starting from the new century, the real DDoSing began, and some protection was introduced. We have two classes here. One is on-premise, represented by big guys like Arbor, Redware. The people have to pay $1 million for them in order to be protected on-premisely. The second part was represented by so-called Proxy Shield or reverse proxies guys. Prolexic was the leader at that time, bought by Akamai with time, and If you, it may sound strange now, but protection for one website with Prolexic at that time costed $20,000 per month with a $20,000 setup fee. It's unbelievable. Other guys were cheaper, yeah? Please raise your hand if anybody remember any of them here. Dragonara, Black Lotus? Nobody. Okay, good for you, because it was a nightmare. When you go to their protection and they tell you, hey, you are protected, you actually see 20% of your normal traffic on your server. The good thing is that they are not alive anymore, so it's not a problem anymore. What from the content side? The traditional hosting vendors were not dealing with DDoS problem at all. They were afraid of it. If you get an attack, if you've been their customer and you get an attack on them, they would just cut you from the internet and push you somewhere else to find the protection from somewhere. This somewhere were that Proxy Shield guys, or a reverse proxies. Somewhere around 2008, the cloud, we started to talk about cloud. Somewhere around that time, Amazon introduced their AWS, Amazon Web Services. We started talking about different models of the cloud, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and so on. And of course, we started to name these Proxy Shield guys like a cloud protection. Now it's a normal way. But somewhere around 2016, early 2017, a major change took place. Traditional hosting vendors like Amazon, cloud vendors like Amazon, OVH started protecting their customers. And traditional protectors like Cloudflare started to change the content they serve that is not actually being hosted with them. Remember this day, this is the day when the market will be completely changed and there will be no separate companies for protection and for content delivery. This will be a single service. The big guys are already done. RizWeb, OVH, Amazon, even the low-cost companies like Hetzner, OnlineNet, KimSophie, and so on. You don't see these Proxy Shield guys here because they will not exist anymore. And Cloudflare, big protection vendors, understand it. That's why they started to meddle to the content being passed by them. This summer, Cloudflare introduced Cloudflare apps, which gives a possibility for you to, with one click, to add some content on your resource. Again, they are not hosting anything. A few weeks ago, they have introduced Cloudflare Apps version 2, which gives even more possibilities for the developers to develop some apps that could be distributed through their cloud. And the things are changing. So if the customers are already expecting this from the cloud, because of all this as a service model, the customer don't want to get bothered about anything anymore, and even about information security. They want to get everything from one place without thinking about anything. And the cloud, traditional cloud, have to think about this. They have to start offering protection, otherwise they will be in a problem. The big guys, we already talked about them, like OVH, Amazon, are already done. They have procured their DDoS protection from big guys like Arbor, Redware. They already paid $1 million for this because they understand that it's a must. The small fish will probably die. This is the sad truth of the free market. But the mid-sized guys have to think about this, and there are still some ways how to survive. Again, let me ask you a question. Please raise up your hand. Who is already protected from denial of service attacks? Okay, good. Who is thinking about the protecting in the future? Started to think about this. Okay, not much. Okay, so we have several options what could be done. They're obvious. You can procure a third-party hardware solution already done out of the box and man it. You can develop your own solution, or you can try it as a service. The first option obviously involves a large initial investment. Again, if you want to get something working from big guys, you have to spend a lot of money, at least $200,000 initially for the appliance. On top of this, you have to educate, train, and maintain your incident response team 24/7 because these appliances are not working automatically. You have to have people who will watch them. So additional staffing is required, and some adaptation to their solution is needed because it's out-of-the-box solution. The second option is to develop your own solution. It's unpredictable investment and time. Yeah? The good thing is that it's not a large one-time investment, so it will not make you a dent in your wallet, but you have to find the development, you have to find the skills, you have to have a know-how, and so on. Again, it's all tied with additional staffing with your incident response team. The good thing is that you can make a solution up to your infrastructure. You do not need to think how to adapt on it. And the third option is on-premise as a service. No initial investment, no additional staffing, no need to buy anything. You don't get just a guarantee for the appliance, like for RAM, for processor, for HDD. You get a guarantee for SLA, for the service. And just imagine it's on-premise as a service, like the cloud is going on-premise. Thank you.